but we have taken it from the religious aspect to now almost a criminal form of worship, if I may call it so. Alex, you opened a can of worm and ran away. You
Let me respond first before Alex.
Let me have Alex. I'll have you just now. Yes, Alex.
Yeah, nilivamiwa. You saw even how it was just coming from everywhere. Even people from Sound Candy Talk had come here just to stalk on me. And they were openly saying nilikuja tu kujionea. So I had to take a break because you never know. Juju can pass through the internet. So
okay.
So you got to protect yourself, and but then that's a light moment. You know, it is easy for you to question a perceived cult. And I've asked myself over and over, am I aligning myself, my ideology, my philosophy, how I was raised, what I believe? Am I aligning myself totally to what sometimes I hear? The answer has been no. And I had to go back to historicity and ask myself, how did it start? How did I get here? Why do I sometimes listen to things that I don't want to listen for a very long time? And why is it that I don't come out, objectively and subjectively to totally say this is not acceptable? You see, Jex, let me tell you something. I was in a channel that I love a lot. And at some point, I asked myself, is this truly what I want? One young man who comes to us from Bunge la Wananchi, it is not what he said that made me start thinking. It is how he said it. And this is what he said. Maandamano ni tamu sana. Na sisi tunafurahianga huko tukienda maandamano. Kama wewe uko na gari yako, usikuje huku. Sisi hatujui kama kwa nini uko na gari. Wewe unajua sisi tunaandamana. Mbona unakuja na hapa na wewe uko na gari na sisi tunatembea na mguu? I remembered I was in Kisii one day. I had just a small alteration with a boda. And how the boda walipiga hiyo nini honi yao, in 10 minutes, I was bombarded, surrounded by the borders, and I was the dynasty, they were the hustlers. And I said, sometimes in a subtle way, we support what will come to it. Then I remembered what Orengo said, revolutionaries eat their own. I am supporting maandamano, but am I supporting the maandamano that truly agitating, or some people are coming in that maandamano to gain what they want? And I came to know within the maandamano, there are people who feel bad. Kuna watu wako na magari, kuna watu wako nani. And you ask yourself, was that the right statement to be said? And I remember I came out and I wrote a statement. I said, you cannot say that. Somebody wrote me a text and said, that is a young boy. You can't do that. You can't say that. He is sitting there for me. And I kept on listening to these young boys come over and over and over. And what they were saying, what they keep on saying, is not the kind of maandamano I truly want or can take us to where we can. I had to ask myself, am I in a cult, or am I following an ideology or a philosophy that I can defend with principles that is tangible, productive, and progressive? I realized, no, hell no. It is an emotional outburst for people who have not known how to resolve an issue that ought to be resolved, because the pain is there. People are hungry. Children are not going to school. The standard of living. But is that the way? On top of that, when life, because Honorable Budi came to our channel, and this is what he said, nitakuchangia, lakini jua kuwa hata sisi civil servants hatujalipwa bado. Honorable Budi was very honest. Don't ask us kuchanga when I have not been paid. Constantly, ni kuchanga. After a few emotional things, ni kuchanga. I am not going to be subjected into that. And that is why I said this. Before I go to Pastor Mackenzie, I must question myself. Have I ever belonged to a cult? Yes. And there is a cult within us that is so subtle you may not even know. Has this channel been a cult before? Yes. At some point it was, until somebody had to stop it. And when he stopped it, we didn't know that the guy was trying to stop the cult-like character. So the whole issue of being calcated is subtle. We see it. You must condemn the nearest, because that's how it starts. For somebody to be told not to eat, it did not start by telling you do not eat. It started from somewhere. We have seen in this country whereby there has given money to campaign openly. And all these things started with miracle babies. The other time we have seen all these complaints about Odur, or Dr. War, Prophet War, the mightiest prophets of all. And you go, he baptizes you, knowing well he is fake. Why do you allow, as a national leader, a person who will respect Dr. War na kubatiza, knowing very well that he's a fake person? We saw Mackenzie in State House. Why would you even allow that? Why would the president must answer us what Mackenzie was doing in State House? Not once, not twice. He was in Narok with him. And now there is another pattern ambayo inanisumbua, whereby we are also hearing it. So you must start from where you are and then be able to go progressively kwa mbele. We hear that there is fasting on Monday and Thursday in State House. We hear that there is forced fasting in State House. The other thing we hear, the same person who is forcing people to stay, to fast, not kununua jeks. It's even more worse. Amefanya nini? Adopt forest. I've never had somebody adopt a forest. Unaelewa? So those are the kind of paths we must question, because it's now in State House in Nairobi, but we must start where we are. Because even in teaching, we start with known to unknown. So I had to start with the known cult that I have been in, and then to the Rachel RUTO before I go to the Mackenzie, because I don't know Mackenzie. So when I question that, people come here and start saying, nilitaka tu kukuja hapa nijione. No, my friend, the good thing is that the topic of cults has come. And if it's true there are cults in Kenya, you must question first if you belong to any. That is what I was bringing out, my friend. So, mimi sikuwasha moto. I was only saying that in a subtle way, tumechangishwa pesa, tumefanyishwa vitu, tumeendelea kufanya vitu, but we are not seeing where we are. People will come honestly and say, if you have not been, like I've listened the last few days, you have to be trained. You don't go for 6 weeks and become a pastor. So there's this pastor. Did he go to school for 3 years the way the people in this channel agitating? I want to know that. Because you can't say something but not be able to come out from where you are first of, is this happening within us? Unaelewa? So mimi sikuwasha. I'm just questioning, have I belonged to a cult? And if I did, how did I realize this is a cult? Because we were questioned. Kwa nini mnachanga pesa? Si channel inapata pesa ya kujilipia. We were questioned several times, but we were blind. So before ifike mahali, watu wanawacha kukula, na hiyo kuacha kukula, the motive ni wakufe, because now reports are coming that these bodies do not have livers, they don't have kidneys, they don't have what? So body parts were being sold. If body parts have to be preserved, sold, transported out of the country, it is a syndicate. It's a criminal enterprise that involves doctors, involves the police, involves the local people, involves international, because you cannot save a kidney from Kilifi all the way to India without professionals of all levels. So the person that is being used at the bottom is the least beneficiary. But here, there are middle people. who are learned, who know what they're doing. You can't trace them. And that's my fear, that now we have gotten to a point that the person we are criticizing is not the real criminal here. You can't transport a kidney from Kilifi to India. You cannot take a child at Miracle Babies from There was convicted in Kenya. What happened to him? Uhuru has been convicted several times for lying to people. What has happened to him? It is a culture that we have. So when we criticize it, now we are being called that tumetoroka Baba. Why did Uhuru baptize Baba? What connection does he have with him? Same thing. What does Mackenzie have with Ruto? That's why I'm saying politics and religions need to be scrutinized to the core so that one does not joke with the other. If we have to resolve this problem, but if we think that we can play political expediency on this, next time you will see a bigger problem, because theirs problem was bigger than what we knew. Children being sold from maternity. Alafu mtu anasema, I have miracle babies. Didn't it happen in our country? So I'm raising something, Jex. Thank you.
And I agree with you. And I even have more questions, because it's not just about death. Because if you look at this issue in one-sided, you lose the point. Because we have lost the true doctrine and teachings, that Christ, if I may be spiritual kidogo, Christ fed the 5,000, but here it's the 5,000 feeding the one. We have turned how Christ would give, right, to Christ who receives. We even have Jesus already in Tongaren. We have a Jesus in Tongaren who is who was even quick to kashifu this pastor. We have people purporting to do funny miracles, extortions of money. We have even pastors who are now betting, like unaambiwa tuma, so I give you this amount. Like pastor, they have turned the true essence of giving to something like it's I even don't have words. Black, yes? Yes, Black.
I want to first agree with Alex Media, and most importantly, I want to unasema nataka kukubaliana na Alex Media, but most importantly, I want to congratulate my brother for taking that broad step, because it's not easy to have taken that bold move, and it's not easy. It's actually even harder to have come out clean and said the ills that were happening within the place which he mentioned, the cult-like behavior that is being breeded by some certain individuals. Asante sana Alex Media bana, for doing that. I pray that some people will also open their eyes by what you've just tried to enlighten them. Secondly, imagine imefika point that unasikia pastor acha anaombea maji, alafu watu wananunua hiyo maji, tunaenda unakunywa unapona. Mara sijui eti inafika point pastor anaomba anakuambia eti shika TV, ukishika TV utapona pale ulipo. So in one way or another, actually I'm trying to appreciate what the Rwandan president did by closing down the church, ambazo zilikuwa zina like some certain standards and regulations which he had put up so as to create some discipline in the religion sector. I ask myself this question, and I want to ask the same question to all of you. Why don't we ever hear these issues with the Catholic faithfuls? We never hear these issues with the Catholics, because I think